The Cardinals snap their losing streak, and the latest from President of Baseball Operations John Mozeliak on what this team has to do to get out of the cellar in the National League. This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Haffern, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou, and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can follow me on Twitter at JD Sports Radio and follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. I want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and many more. Also available on YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment. That way you can interact with us. Hit the notification button so you know when the new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode being brought to you by Bird Dogs. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB, and when you enter the promo code LockedOnMLB, they'll throw in a free custom Bird Dogs Yeti-style tumbler with every order. Just used mine this morning for a nice coffee, so it's quite handy. Let's talk about last night. An unlikely scenario last night in Texas. Well, at least half of what happened last night was an unlikely scenario. The half that probably isn't so shocking is that the Cardinals offense was non-existent again last night, mustering just one run on 4 hits. And I say that not because I'm trying to bag on the Cardinals there at all. It's because not only has the Cardinals offense been scuffling, which it has been, but they were also facing a very tough pitcher last night in the Rangers, John Gray. John Gray has been very, very good. 6-1 ERA, 2.5 coming into last night's game. And as I mentioned yesterday, he hadn't given up more than 1 earned run in a start in over a month. So he's really, really good. Okay. So most teams are going to struggle against John Gray. And last night, he only gave up 1 earned run again through a complete game, strikes out 12, was dominating in pretty much every way that you can possibly be dominating. On the other side, though, for the Cardinals, we had the resurgent Jack Flaherty. Now, Jack Flaherty also dealing. Captain Jack or Joker Jack, whichever one you want to call him, in reference to that hype video that he put out at the beginning of the season where he kind of had him as like the Dark Knight and he was the Joker and whatever. He's been on quite a roll recently. All right, you got to say, you got to give him credit, right? Last night, outside of the 5 walks, Flaherty outstanding again. 5 or 6 shutout innings. He strikes out 8 again. The starting pitching giving you a chance, keeping you in the game, giving you a chance to win the ball game. Unfortunately for Jack, the pitch count was up by the end of the 6th inning, and they turned the ball over to the bullpen, so he wasn't able to get a decision in this one, but it was still a great effort against arguably the top offensive team in baseball. So the game remains scoreless until the 8th when Alec Burleson rips a first pitch slider over the wall and right for a solo shot to give the Cardinals a lead that the bullpen would make hold up, and the Cardinals win the game 1-0. Now, who saw that coming? A 1-0 win for the Cardinals over the Texas Rangers in Texas. So let's start with the takeaways from last night, and you got to begin with Mr. Jack Flaherty, right? I know the walks are annoying, and at some point they will probably come back to bite him. But Jack has had this knack of getting out of trouble this season, and so far, it's working. It's working. When the results are good, I say don't mess with success, and right now, Jack is just getting it done. He creates his own mess, but you know what he does? He then cleans it up. He cleans up after himself and keeps throwing up zeros on the scoreboard. I threw out the solid numbers since that horrible game against the Angels. And now, including last night's game, Jack Flaherty, over his last 6 starts, only 1-0, which is a bummer for Jack because he's not getting the wins, which, you know, people are going to look at that, and that's going to affect what his payday is going to be at the end of this year. But only 1-0. But for the Cardinals, the important number here is the team is 5-1 in those 6 starts. His ERA is a sparkling 2.06. Opponents have just 1 home run off them. They're batting .234. The only blemish for Jack Flaherty right now is the walks. And maybe the occasional wildness that he's putting up there is effective. Maybe it's something that's keeping batters on their toes, and maybe that's helping with the success that he's seeing right now. I don't know if that's the case or not. I'm just throwing it out there because sometimes there's effective wildness. Sometimes that is a thing. But if he ever gets the walks under control, where he limits them to maybe 1 or 2 a game instead of the 3, 4, and 5 that you're seeing all the time, there's really not a lot to complain about Jack Flaherty right now. There really isn't. Give him his credit. Let's talk about Alec Burleson next. Alec Burleson. You got to feel good for the guy. A guy I've criticized a bunch, and I admit that, has been bashed by Cardinals fans online. If you go through the comments under our YouTube videos and you're looking at Twitter, people have wanted him sent down to AAA. They want him benched. They want him gone. They don't think he's any good. The numbers haven't been good. All of that is valid, mind you, that the production isn't where you thought it was going to be out of Alec Burleson overall so far this season. He's not graceful in the field. He doesn't look good running after fly balls. But what a great moment for him. I'm not going to use this as another chance to say bad things about him. He pulled it off last night. So you got to love that moment for him. And I get yelled at online from people who are that I'm saying too much negative stuff. I want these guys to succeed. It sucks covering a team that isn't winning. It's tough. And I want to see these guys win. It's a hell of a lot more fun to watch these games and to talk about them each day when it's winning baseball. And last night, that slider from John Gray that Burleson hit out, that was a beautiful pitch. Low and into lefties normally isn't a great idea, but that slider was perfectly placed. He painted it right there on the inside portion of the plate, right in the corner of the strike zone. It was gorgeous. And Burley just beat him. Burley turned on it. And you see these flashes of why Burleson was so good at AAA last year, winning a batting title at AAA. But they've been so few and far between that it's been difficult to understand why someone else isn't getting more opportunities. But last night, Burley got it done. Excellent job. Excellent job. And I'll tell you, I get a lot of questions about that too. How come Burleson is still in the lineup? And first off, you've got your starting outfielders are all injured. So somebody's got to play, right? And he's left-handed, and if you're going to be facing right-handers, having a left-handed bat in the lineup isn't a horrible thing. Also, kudos to the bullpen last night. Hicks has been filthy lately. Are you guys seeing what Jordan Hicks has done? Here's the stats. Since giving up 3 earned runs on May 5th and seeing his ERA skyrocket on that day to 7.62, Jordan Hicks has made 10 appearances and hasn't allowed a single run. Not one. He's got 18 strikeouts over 12 and a third innings with 4 walks. Opponents are hitting just 100 against him, and his ERA is now under 4 on the season at 3.91. The adjustment of scooting over on the rubber has worked out. He's throwing strikes. Guys, nobody's hitting him. You knew his stuff was filthy, and you were just hoping he'd figure it out eventually, and he has, and he's looked fantastic. Gallegos coming off a brutal game in Pittsburgh, which it happens to Gio. It's like every 6th game somewhere in there, all of a sudden it's a bad Gio game, and it does happen. But normally he's very, very good and gets a shutout inning last night. Ryan Helsley, dominant on Monday when he came in, looked strong again and locks it down in the 9th for his 7th save. And the thing with both of those guys is don't be your worst enemy. Don't walk people. When they don't walk anyone, they normally succeed and they don't have any issues. But as soon as they walk somebody, that's when things start tumbling down the wrong way. And they look great last night. One thing I do want to point out after the game, and you might have seen this online, there was footage of the team as they lined up to shake hands, with each other. They get in the line and they go down the line and high five each other. And I couldn't help but notice, and it was also pointed out by a lot of other people after I'd pointed it out and retweeted that, how lifeless everybody looked. Like the only guy I saw jumping around and excited for anything in that game yesterday was Andrew Kisner. And I realize it's been a tough season and they've been in a bad rut lately, but my God, you just got a shutout win on the road over the first place Texas Rangers. And my joke was it looked like they'd sat in traffic for 10 hours on Highway 40. They looked miserable. And I caught some flack from people saying, oh, it's just one win. They got nothing to be happy about. They're a losing team. Yes, you do. Yes, you do have something to be happy about. That's a big win. This wasn't a shutout win over the Oakland A's or some other weaker team. It was over a very good baseball team. Smile. Be happy. You're allowed to be happy. You play better when you're happy and when you're smiling and you're having a good time. Even last year in the first half of the season, remember the Cardinals did not have a great first half of the season. It wasn't like this. But you remember there was a jubilant vibe in the dugout. You had Albert, you had Yachty in their last seasons, goofing around, having a good time. You had a loose team that despite not really doing all that well in the first half, they were still having a good time out there on the field. And it's a business, and I get it. But it's also a game. And if you're not going to play with enthusiasm and energy, then you're never going to climb out of this hole. You've got to be able to enjoy the small victories when you get them. And last night, I just was hoping that you would see a kind of like a, whoo, we got the win. All right. A few smiles and stuff, and nothing. It was just blank. You want me and the fans to believe that these final 100 games of the season, that you still have the ability to win this thing. Then you better bring your level of intensity up about 1,000%. Because the Cincinnati Reds are in town this weekend. They're coming at you next. And I don't know if you've seen the highlights over the last couple of days, but they've got 2 comeback wins against the Dodgers. They got their top prospect up on the team, and they have shown more life in the last 2 games in those comeback win over the Dodgers than I've seen the Cardinals show in the entire first half of the season, or the first third of the season, I should say. Like, it's got to get up. It's my opinion, and you can say what you want about it, but something's got to kick this thing into gear. I don't know if it's going to need the return of Nuke Bar or what is going to shake this thing up to get them more excited, more happy to be playing the game of baseball. But I guarantee you play better if you start enjoying it a little more. I know they're losing. I know it's harder to do that than how I make it sound, but still. I was disappointed. I wanted to see more life out of them after a big win last night. John Mozeliak spoke with Katie Wu from The Athletic recently, and we're going to go over some of the things he had to say about this team and where it's going, and we'll do that next here on Locked On Cardinals. Summer is here. It is hot out there, and if you want to look your best but also be comfortable at the same time, and of course, who doesn't want to do that, then my friends, let me introduce you to your new favorite shorts. They're called Bird Dogs. Goofy name, but nothing goofy about the way they fit and the way they feel. Bird Dog stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg to give you a truly sculpted look. Okay, the good old days of the baggy shorts, those are gone. You notice how like pants have gotten a little bit skinnier to give you a more sculpted look. Those are the popular looks right now. And that's how you need your shorts too. And I'm not saying they have to be Speedo looking, tight and short. That's not what I mean. But to give you a more sculpted look, to show off your legs a little bit, this is the type of design you need. And Bird Dog shorts do the exact same things that the Lululemon ones do, but they fit way better because they aren't made of stiff, restricting cotton that frankly just doesn't feel good. I hate those, and these don't feel that way. They move with you. They use a cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki, but it stretches so you can get a slimmer look without having to be constricted the whole time. Sacrifice the movement, which is never fun. I hate sitting at a ball game in shorts and then you just feel like you've got, these tight, awful things on. That's not how it feels, man. It feels like you're wearing a swimsuit almost. It's got that kind of movement with you. Keeps you cool and dry all day long because they use that anti-stink sweat wicking fabric. Wore them on the golf course, continue to wear them on the golf courses, continue to wear them to go watch Cardinal games. They're great. Go to birddogs.com. Check them out for yourself. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB. Enter that promo code LockedOnMLB. They're going to hook you up with a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. Like I mentioned, great for iced coffees. Great to have any sort of beverages out on the golf course or out doing anything, whether you're walking the dog or just, going to the park with your kids. birddogs.com/lockedonmlb. Get the free Yeti style tumbler. You won't want to take your bird dogs off. We promise you. The Cardinals are back home this weekend against the suddenly thriving Cincinnati Reds, and you can catch every pitch of the Cardinals' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. Thank you again for making Locked on Cardinals your first listen every day. We enjoy listener interaction. Good, bad, hostile, nice, whatever it is, okay? Back and forth we go, and it's a lot of fun. It's like having a group discussion with all your favorite buddies and Cardinal fans just sitting around at your favorite establishment, talking ball. That's what we do. Yesterday, I ran a poll question on the Twitter page, kind of a follow-up on the question that I asked on YouTube the previous day, and I wanted to know where fans think the majority of the blame should go for the disappointing season that the Cardinals are enduring so far. 61% of the vote thinks that the blame should be on President of Baseball Operations, John Mozeliak. Oli had 22%, and just 16% goes to the players. Now, Katie Wu from The Athletic got a chance to sit down with Mo and had an exclusive interview on The Athletic. And I'm not going to give you the whole interview. You should go to The Athletic and read Katie's work for yourself. But I'll give you some of the big takeaways that I saw from this. When asked about what has led to this current state of the team, this was Mo's response. He said, "I think any answer I give is just going to seem like an excuse. And I've been in this business long enough to know that throwing up excuses is not something our fan base wants to hear. The reality is we got off to a very, very poor start in April. We dug a very, very deep hole. May, we had to bounce back. And now we're turning in the wrong direction again. When you look at the team as a whole, it's not any one thing that sticks out. When things are going bad, I do think internally the pressures mount. There are some teams that have losing records that planned on having losing records. There are teams that go out with the intention of winning and then lose. That's what we're experiencing. I think all of us that are involved in it on a daily basis are really struggling to find that path forward because historically, we've certainly had bad weeks or a bad month, but to be where we are today is not something this organization has really experienced in a long time." Basically, Mo, there, at least what I'm taking away from this, is that they don't know why. They don't know why they're losing like this. It's a mystery. It's hard to explain how a team that seemingly has as much talent as the Cardinals do continue to lose ball games. How the offense can just vanish for stretches at a time. Wu points out that she knows it's June and things can change, but in regards to the trade deadline, does Mo anticipate still being a team that is not in sell mode? And Mo had this to say on that subject. Right now, we're staying. We're holding. Ultimately, as we see the next 4 to 6 weeks develop, that might decide what we really do in the end. I hope we're actively trying to get better come July than looking to move talent. Now, this is a bit of a different answer than what Mo said to Jim Hayes from Bally's when he interviewed him on Memorial Day and asked him kind of a similar question, where at that point, Mo seemed a little bit more confident that this team is not going to be selling off players. But I mentioned this earlier in the week. If things don't change soon, you got to do what's best for the franchise. And just like the Blues this past year, when they realized that they were not in contention for a Stanley Cup, despite having an outside chance of making the playoffs, realistically, they weren't going to win a championship. And they said, you know what? We're gonna start trading off these big pieces and start rebuilding this thing. They traded their captain, Ryan O'Reilly, Ivan Barbashev, who was thriving with the Vegas Golden Knights, who are in the finals right now, Vladimir Tarasenko, names that have been around this team for a long, long time. We're a part of that cup-winning team in 2019, but you've got expiring contracts. Sometimes you have to take a look in the mirror and you just have to be realistic and say, is this team good enough to win a World Series? And I think we all agree that right now, the answer is no. They are not good enough to win a World Series. Will one or two trades put them in a better place to be a contender? Possibly. But also remember, for those of you who want to trade to go get guys like Shane Bieber from the Guardians, Dylan Cease from the White Sox, the Cardinals aren't the only one who's going to go after these guys. There's going to be like 15, 16, maybe even more teams out there who are in playoff contention and also want those guys. And then you have to be willing to outbid their trade packages to land them. over the years, the Cardinals, at least in my opinion, have not shown that they are willing to go that extra step, to make trades, to give up enough young talent to bring in veteran guys that might make a difference. They seem to kind of settle for the mid trades to see if those pop instead. And sometimes they've worked. I mean, you got to admit, getting Quintana and Montgomery last year, it worked. It worked. Cost you Harrison Bader, but it worked. Cost you Johan Oviedo, who's been, pretty good with Pittsburgh, but it worked. And it pushed them into the playoffs last year. Coming towards the deadline this year, if you're in a situation where you got to make that decision that, we're not going where we're going to go. We're not going to win a championship. If Jack Flaherty continues the way he's going right now, what is his worth going to be at the trade deadline? Like huge, right? Like huge. Luis Castillo, huge haul for the Cincinnati Reds last year when they traded him to the Seattle Mariners. Like the Reds unloaded a bunch of dudes last year. Remember? Sonny Gray, Luis Castillo, Tyler Mahle. They move all these guys, brought in a lot of young, up-and-coming talent. That's something the Cardinals could do. They could make that move. Jordan Montgomery, his stock is, it's dipping a little bit. But if he straightens things out, what could he be worth at the trade deadline? Teams would love to get a left-handed starter in their rotation like Jordan Montgomery. What would someone like Tommy Edman be worth to a team? Switch-hitting speedster who's a Gold Glove winner on the infield and has looked pretty darn good in center field? Like the ultimate utility guy to plug in? Do I want to trade Tommy Edman? Of course not. But if somebody offers you a king's ransom, you got to think about it. Paul DeYoung, Tyler O'Neill, Chris Stratton, guys that will have a lot of worth to teams if they're healthy and producing at the trade deadline. But like Mo says, we all hope that that's not where we are. But the reality is the team might need to do a reset. And flipping these guys might be in the best interest of maybe not this season, but for the franchise in the long run. Speaking of O'Neill, Katie asked Mo about him in the outfield and the decision to stay put in the offseason and not pursue upgrades in the outfield and in the starting rotation, and what he thinks of the job that Oli Marmol has done so far with this team. His answer might upset some people. I'll tell you what it was next on Locked On Cardinals. The Cardinals will have Jordan Montgomery on the mound tomorrow night against Ben Lively of the Reds, and you can catch every pitch of the Cardinals hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Cardinals. The interview, again, that we're going over here is on The Athletic. Katie Wu covers the team for them, and in this exclusive interview with John Mozeliak, here's what he had to say about not upgrading in the outfield or in the starting rotation through free agency this past offseason. I think you would agree that we definitely got beat up for not doing something about starting pitching. I can say without naming names, the majority of the pitchers we did chase are currently on the IL. Now, that doesn't justify why we did it or why not, but my point is it wouldn't have helped. When you look at where we are, I do feel like we are trending in a positive direction overall. Our starting pitchers are giving us a chance to win. That needs to continue for us to get ourselves back on track. But where we are right now, I'm more encouraged with what we're seeing. And he's not wrong. I mean, you might think that Mo is blowing smoke up your butts right there, but he's not. I mean, Michaelis and Flaherty have been great over the last month. Matz has been a bust, but hopefully he's straightening things out while he's out in the bullpen. He looked good last time he came out of the bullpen. Wainwright, decent game against the Rangers, but he's been underwhelming so far this year, considering he's making $17.5 million. And Monty, who had the strong April, below average May, but in his last two outings has looked more like himself. I'm still willing to stick with Liberatore in the rotation. I don't see what the point is in moving him back down. He's giving you a better chance to win than Matz was at the time. I don't mind keeping Matz in the pen. As long as you're getting positive production out of Steven Matz, whether he's in the pen or in the rotation, that's all you're asking for. Okay? Don't worry about the salary because it's already spent. Who cares? If he's doing better in the bullpen than he was in the rotation, keep him in the bullpen. The real issue has been the offense lately. And part of the problem there is what's going on with this outfield. So when Mo was asked about The outfield issues, the production, the injuries, he said most of our outfield that we are counting on, they weren't in camp. They were participating in the WBC. Lars getting injured first homestand and is now back on the IL. The significant time Tyler has missed because of the IL. And then Dylan spraining his ankle. These are things where you ask, do you feel like you have enough depth to cover it? And that's where somebody like Jordan Walker emerged. And we're trying to give Burleson opportunities with his at-bats. But to get more specific, missing those injured players for this time has adversely affected our club. Did we make a large bet on that? Yes, but our bet was on performance, not injury. But having said that, either way, it's not working to what we had hoped. There are 101 games left in the season. Hopefully these guys can get back and make the impact that we thought. If not, that definitely will affect how we think about 2024. Ultimately, you're going to need production out of your outfield. We have 101 games to see what that looks like. But if it's not to the level where we feel like we can compete over 162, then adjustments will have to be made. And I'm glad that he's not BSing anything there. He's like, if these guys don't get their crap together and start doing what they're supposed to be doing, then we're moving people out. And it's time to go on and move on to other guys. Dylan Carlson, 0 for 4 in his second rehab game for Memphis on Wednesday night. He is expected to play again on Thursday. I would assume he will be activated for this weekend. I still have not seen a dang thing on Lars Nootbaar and what's going on with his back. That's a bit concerning to me. At least you would have heard something like, hey, Lars is feeling good. He's been jogging. He's doing all this stuff and should be back here very, very soon. Not a peep has come out about Lars Nootbaar. So I'll keep you posted on that if something gets updated. But that's concerning because he's a big piece. He's your leadoff guy. He's your energy guy. And to not have him around, that's a big thing that's missing from this team. When it comes to Oli and how he thinks, how Mo thinks Oli has done so far this year. All right, don't throw the eggs and tomatoes at me. This is the Mo quote. This is always a tough question to answer because people will say we're not winning, but I think he's done an amazing job. I think he has the trust of the players. Unfortunately, he wasn't dealt the hand he thought he was going to get. You have to make adjustments. Those things happen. I do think he does a really good job, and I think most importantly, he has the trust of the players. Now, many continue to speculate that there is discontent and unhappiness in this clubhouse between Oli and the players. And it all started with the Tyler O'Neill issue and not hustling and him calling him out. But every time Mo is asked about what's going on with the team and how they feel about him, he continues to say that there isn't a problem and that this team is fully behind their manager and that the front office is behind their manager. Now, A, he's either telling the truth and everyone needs to just quit using that as a crutch as to why this team isn't performing, or B, he's lying through his teeth and covering for his guy, Oli. I leave that up to you to decide. Personally, I've told you all along, they're not firing this guy. This is their dude. I can give you excuses as to why things have been going bad. Your whole starting outfield has been hurt. You know, Wilson Contreras has not performed the way you thought he was going to. You've had inconsistencies in the starting rotation. You've had weird blow-ups and implosions from the bullpen in games that you probably should have won. All of that has led to a really bad record. But if there's no issues between the team and their manager, he's certainly not going anywhere. I continue to say winning cures everything. You know, during that stretch against the Red Sox and the Brewers and the Dodgers, when they were playing really, really well, we saw the guys who they were boisterous and they were happy and they were smiling and they were showing energy. Need to get that back. They need to get that eye of the tiger, as they would say in Rocky 3. They got to get that back, man. And that just came to my head. That's a perfect way to describe what's going on with this team. Remember how defeated and crappy Rocky Balboa looked after he got killed by Clubber Lang and his manager Mickey dies, and you remember seeing him, he's just kind of going through the motions and he doesn't really want to be there, but he knows he needs to be there. That's how this Cardinals team looks right now. We need an Apollo Creed to wake these suckers up and get them moving again. We need Adrian. We need somebody to go yell at these guys. Maybe the wives need to get involved and yell at these guys like, let's go. Show some energy. That's what I want to see out of them. I want to see energy. Day off today. Maybe they pick up speed tomorrow when the Reds are in town this weekend. That's going to be a crazy series because the Reds are coming in, and you look at their record, and they've got a losing record. But holy cow, is that an exciting team right now? They've got an influx of youth. Ellie De La Cruz just got called up. He's something special, guys. He's something to watch. So that's going to be an interesting series. Be sure to catch every pitch of that Cardinals hometown broadcast for the upcoming series against Ellie De La Cruz and the Cincinnati Reds with SiriusXM. On the SXM app, just search Cardinals. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Help our channel and our love for the Cardinals grow. You are the best fans in baseball for a reason, and I will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.